It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Whoa, let's go. Oh yeah. Welcome back to the All Purpose Pod for an All Purpose Life. Wherever you are today and however you're listening today, call me Mr. You, the podcast. We thank you again for making us a small part of your morning, your day, and your week. We're your weekly mirror check before you go change the world, baby. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and of course, the Twitter. Download, subscribe to They Call Me Mr. You and Football Talk with Bo, wherever you enjoy your podcast listening. What's going on, brother? Good morning.
Morning. Man, crazy weekend.
Ooh, week 3 is insane. Absolutely. Yes, we got 2 games tonight. It's insane.
Absolutely.
This might have been the craziest week so far. Maybe.
I mean, some of those scores were just nuts. Obviously that Miami score looked more like it was a college game than.
We're going to talk about that. I have a question I think only you can answer. I got a question about that particular thing, but this is usually the week, at least in my assessment over the years, following the sport and of course playing fantasy, where you find out who you are as a team around week 3. You figure out if you're a contender or pretender, if you're going all in, or if you're just kind of just hanging around playing games. You're not really serious about this thing. I think in college and pro, I think we can both say that safely. That's the time you kind of figure your identity out. Or you're going to be running the ball, or you're going to be throwing. You figure that kind of stuff out around week 3, week 4. We have some awesome poll questions already out there on our Twitter feed. I believe it's on our Facebook as well. Is it on Facebook as well? No?
It is.
Yep. Right. The first poll question is, number 1, what week does Russell Wilson get benched? What week does Russell Wilson get benched?
So the funny thing about that is, for whatever reason, Peyton just doesn't like Russ. I don't know what it is. Like, doesn't like him as a football player, but seems like he doesn't like him as a human. And the thing that's funny is his stats haven't been terrible, right? Like, it's not like last year where he was just bad. This year, his stats aren't horrible. They're just not getting wins.
Yeah, it's not really totally Wilson's. I hope you can see that. His experience in the game. So that first question is what?
Huh? You're cutting out.
Oh, I know why. Sorry. That first question is what week does Russell Wilson get benched? Second question: does Brandon Staley from the Chargers survive this season?
No.
I want the people to answer that along with us, man. But we'll come back to that at the end of the show, like we always do. We'll come back to the. We kind of formulated how our shows go every Monday, so we changed some things around. So you see a few changes, but at the end of the day, at the end of the episode, rather, you'll see the poll questions, and we'll answer a lot of your questions that you have in the comment section coming live to us. We do all that stuff at the end of the show, so not a whole lot of comment answering while we're in the show, unless it's relevant. But so our poll questions again: what week in the NFL season does Russell Wilson actually get benched? And the second question is, the head coach of the Chargers, Brandon Staley, survived the entire season or not? So we'll talk about that throughout. All right, quick hits from college football. Man, oh man, oh man. I pulled about 5 games I thought were incredible. And I watched 3.5 of them. Okay. The other one I didn't watch, but I looked at Colorado and Oregon, obviously.
Yep.
Michigan and Rutgers, that's my team, obviously. Iowa and Penn State, only because of former Michigan Wolverine Cade McNamara talking junk about the team on his way out the door, throwing stones and whatnot. We'll come back to that in a second. Ohio State, Notre Dame. I just really thought it would be an upset there. Almost happened. And USC at Arizona State. Let me tell you something. That was a long game. It was late on the East Coast. It was way past the midnight hour. But that game was incredible. But we'll talk about that real shortly. So, where do you want to start? Colorado, Oregon?
Yeah, I mean, got to start with Colorado, right?
Because they said so. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so this didn't go any different than I thought it would go.
Okay.
The thing is like I said from week one, there was no semblance of a running game, and all they needed was a good defense to figure out the pass game. They had nothing else to offer. And at the end of the first half, they had negative 33 rush yards. So they weren't in that game from the very beginning. Now, they were able to finally get some rush yards late, but that was mostly because of garbage time, right? Oregon has, guys that are working the concession stands in there by the end. And so, and they, even with that, they still only put up, roughly 50 yards rushing, something like that. So, but yeah, I mean, that's going to be the thing when they face these good teams. Not having a running game is huge. Obviously, when they lost their, receiver / corner last week, that was a contributing factor, but it wouldn't have overcame what happened to them on Saturday.
I don't think it would have helped at all. Honestly,
I mean, he would have had another target. They would have had their better corner out there. So I mean, it might have been closer-ish, but I mean, it still wouldn't have changed the fact that they don't have a running game, and ultimately would have gotten blown out in this game either way.
And Shador wasn't very comfortable back there. Now, from what I saw, do you see a different game than I saw?
No. Okay. He.
So Travis Hunter can't fix that part.
No, definitely not. I mean,
he plays two team, but he plays two spots in the O-line. He doesn't play O-line. He plays two spots, but not O-line.
Yep.
I wasn't going to help him out much, so we could say that, but Travis Hunter wasn't going to turn this tide. This was a whole different situation. And like we said before, we talked a lot about that, and I've had some spirited discussions on Twitter with folks about the team being more disciplined. Yep. People feel like that's not really a problem. I'm like, yeah, well, if you're averaging 10 penalties every single game, guess what? Discipline is a problem. It's actually a problem. And I felt like that was going to be a big deal going into this week. I think I said it last week. If I didn't, it must be the week before, but I know I said somewhere that playing a team like Oregon, it's not going to be – it's going to be challenging for you to play teams like Oregon and USC who can stop the run. It's going to be a problem for you. You can't come inside and just blow somebody out. That's not Nebraska. It's not a two-win Nebraska team. It's not that. No, yeah. Huge two-win for the entire season the way they've been playing historically. But this was a wake-up call. What I hope happens is that some adjustments are made in the discipline department. Those penalties, you're not winning games like that. It's really hard to win when you give it up 85 to 100 yards in penalties. It's really hard to do that. So I don't know what happens with who they even playing next. Do you know who they have next week?
Next on their schedule is, let's see, we got.
Yeah. That's all.
They got USC.
30. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. So they're going to catch a couple of L's in a row.
without question. And matter of fact, let's jump right to that game anyways, since we're there. They beat Arizona State 42-28. I think that most folks expected that to happen, but the game that I watched, I mean, when I read some of what happened afterwards, I feel like I watched a different game than everybody else. I saw a really competitive game. Mm-hmm. I didn't see a blowout. I saw a really competitive game. I felt like USC was kind of challenged with stopping the run.
Yep.
The Arizona State's running back was Scatterbo. He was running all over them boys. And he was like a little spark plug, a bowling ball, a wrecking ball for that matter. Mm-hmm. They couldn't stop him. He was just doing whatever he wanted to do, just running through people. So I was really encouraged by seeing that kind of performance. But aside from they dominated every aspect of the game except for, I guess, penalties and third and fourth down. They didn't dominate those areas. There were times where they seemed to be the the least disciplined of the two teams, which is kind of surprising.
Mm-hmm.
You expect them, they've been together for a little while. They kind of know each other. They understand the scheme. I thought they'd be a little bit more disciplined, but unfortunately, I didn't see that really. The defense was kind of troubling. So I said that because I wanted to talk to you about that after we talked about Colorado because they got to play them. I'm like, okay, if defense is a problem for Arizona State, can Colorado capitalize on that at all? Because outscoring teams seem to be the norm with USC. I've seen it over the years. They just outscore the teams. Defense is not really involved in it the majority of the time. They just having a shootout and outscoring people.
Yep.
How's that going to play against Colorado, you think?
I mean, it'll still play okay.
Okay.
And why I say that is because, again, they don't have a running game. So that defense gets to play a little further back, gets to play a little more aggressive on those receivers because they're not going to run on you. I mean, they don't have the ability to really do much, up the middle there. So it'll be fine. They'll be able to outscore them, but it'll be exactly that. Like, it'll be more of a track meet than, than this last week was, for sure.
Good morning, Mom.
Hey.
Joining us today. This is Bo's mom, everybody.
Yep.
Strong supporter of the show. We appreciate her so much.
Yep.
I have much to say about Michigan and Rutgers. I can talk about the nuances of the game and all that happened, but honestly, it was what it always has been against Rutgers. We always struggle with them in the first half or first quarter. So usually first half. We always struggle with them. I don't know what it is. I think just a physicality thing. They always just match us blow for blow. They scored first, drew blood first, and we kind of came back and then tacked on a field goal as well. And we kind of just battle back and forth. They're always a tough team to play.
Yep.
I think at the end of the day, though, our defense just roughed them up. We took the wind out of their sails with the defense, and I don't know if we're the best defense in the country, but we got to be pretty close to it because we're playing excellent ball back there. So I'm pretty encouraged by that. I mean, 31-7. It seemed like it was a blowout. It feels that way from the numbers, but in the trenches, it was a really, really tough game, man.
Mm-hmm.
You missed that one, right? You didn't get a chance to see it?
Yeah, I didn't see that one. I didn't see a lot of college this weekend. I was busy on Saturday, but I did catch parts of the Colorado game and parts of the Notre Dame, Ohio State, and of course the Washington Cal game. That one there was funny because that score doesn't read the same as the stat line. So the score is impressive, right? They were up 45 to what I think it was like 14 or something like that at half, or 12. That's what it was. 45 to 12 at half, right? Like they were beating the brakes off them. But then when you look at the stat line, Cal had 363 in the air, 139 on the ground, and Washington had 389 in the air and 140 on the ground. So, I mean, it was very balanced when it comes to that. Time of possession was 29-50 to 30-10, right? Like
what's that saying about the defense? What happened to the defense in this game?
I think some of it is they had 9 penalties for 83 yards. So I think that helped them sustain some drives. They threw an interception and, they weren't the most efficient on third down or anything, but and they actually had fewer first downs than Cal. But man, it ended up 59-32. So, I mean,
oh my goodness.
Sometimes those yards just end up in the end zone, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, Penix was incredible, man. He had over 300 yards, 4 TDs. He had one pick, but I mean his passer rating was incredible. For sure. You don't see 222 very often.
Not at all.
Very rare, but they obviously throw the ball a lot in that offense. So, that's good. I didn't get a chance to see much of the Notre Dame Ohio State. Just a few pieces. I was hoping that your boy Sam would go inside and throw 4 or 5 touchdowns like he's been doing, but apparently that didn't happen for him this time around. I'm not quite sure why he let us down. As far as the Iowa Penn State game, like I said, my only interest was that I wanted to see if Cade were going to back up all the talking he's been doing. Well, I didn't quite. Maybe I had it on the wrong channel. But I didn't see that. What I saw on this channel that I was on was 31-0.
Yeah.
That's also on the channel I was watching. That means Penn State had 31 and Iowa had zip. So that whole coaching clause for Ferentz, yeah, it's not going to work too well. He's a goner because he already lost this game.
Yep.
And didn't score at all. So, I mean, they had the ball for 14 minutes in this game. Is that a record?
I don't think it is, but it's not good.
somebody did worse than this?
I'm 14? Sure. I mean, probably not this year yet, but I'm sure they have.
14 minutes total? 76 total yards? If I was Cade, no respect, because everybody that leaves blue ain't my enemy and all that kind of stuff. I don't do all that stuff. If I was concerned, if you blue, you're always blue to me. But if I was you, I wouldn't be talking.
Yeah.
I'd be doing something else toward helping this team do better. Because I actually had them when we had our pre-season rankings. I had them battling for Iowa for the West.
Okay.
Now I don't want to do that anymore. I don't like that idea anymore.
Yeah.
Change it back. Oh my goodness.
That one's a game I didn't get to see. I just saw the score on the ticker. I was just like,
I'm not telling you to go back and look at that. That's not at all what I'm suggesting. Don't bother. There's nothing to see when somebody's getting blanked. There's nothing to see there. Yep. That almost happened many times this week in the NFL as well, almost. But yo, man, let's get to our power rankings, man. I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
We're gonna do the power rankings earlier in the show rather than late like we did last week, which I didn't think was a good idea. I thought about saying, why we do that? We do it at the beginning of the show. We in week 4, right? We in week 4. Well, yeah.
Yeah, headed into week 4.
Well, Monday.
So this would be the week 3 power ranking, really, right? Because you're.
Yeah, it is. It is that, but I can't do it at the end of the show. It's crazy.
Yeah.
We know too much stuff now. We've seen all these games, so we can't do. So now we can do it in the beginning of the show after quick hits. All right. So, how you want to start, man? We did it last time.
Go ahead. I'll let you go first on this one.
All 10 or just the first one?
Let's just do all 10.
Oh, brother. He's setting me up for something. I don't like it. All right. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go backwards. All right?
Okay.
Off number 10.
Okay.
Well, this is the hardest one. So I'm doing it in reverse. It was the hardest one for me in the whole ranking. Who's number 10? I could have did Cleveland. I could have kept Atlanta there after the last week. Undefeated going into this week. I'm sticking with Jacksonville there. Too much talent to fall out of my top 10 for this week, right? Offensive lapses, without question. Karen Robinson's been suspended for 4 games. He should be back soon. So this is their last chance to stay in the top 10. So Jacksonville's there. Number 9, New Orleans. Offense still working on their timing. They're having a problem scoring touchdowns for some strange reason. I think Carr's still getting used to the offense. They got a lot of talent back there with Rashid and Thomas and Olave, but they're having a hard time scoring touchdowns.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure where the touchdown problem is coming from per se. But just found out that Jay Wood got injured. He's on the IR now, so and it's gonna be a huge blow. Even if Kamara does come back soon, still gonna be a huge blow to the running game, which they definitely need.
Yep.
But the defense is the midseason form, like you said, man. They're holding 10 consecutive opponents to 20 points or fewer, which is like pretty cool. So they're doing a great job there. Number 9. Did I say 9?
That was 9.
Yeah, what? Why do I have so many teams? They're supposed to be just 10. Uh-oh. You got a problem ready with this ranking. Somebody's about to get cut out of the rankings. Okay. Well, I think what my plan was I would have knocked Jacksonville out and put Detroit in, but that can't happen. So we're scratching that. So Detroit's out of my top 10 for now. So number 8, Green Bay. Okay. Offensive cohesion. I like what's happening. I had them winning the division. I'm not sure how we did the rankings show, but I thought I had them win the division. But they're missing some key starters like Aaron Jones, some others. Kind of inconsistent in some areas. Some accuracy issues with Jordan Love, but so far they're still plugging away. They're in my top 10 still, and they're winning games. So we'll see what happens. Number 7, I got Baltimore. They dropped a little bit. Steady dose of the running game for the most part. They outgained the Bengals last week by 133 yards, which is like, ouch. Undefeated leading into this week. A lot of reliance on Lamar Jackson though, and him uh, making plays with his legs. I hate that because I think it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
And wide receivers not making catches, which is why he's making plays with his legs.
Yep.
Number 6, Buffalo. Defense looked much better. They're pretty wise in taking what Las Vegas gave them. Most efficient win was last week. So number 5, I got KC, and I know it's a blasphemy. I had the Chiefs down that low, but had a gutsy win against Jacksonville. You felt the impact of Kelsey and CJ coming back. Defense made some really good plays, taking pressure off Mahomes. I like it. We're good for now. Philadelphia, number 4. Offense still seem to find itself. So I'm kind of surprised by that. Most of the same players, if not almost all of the same players. So I'm not really understanding what's happening there. The O-line doesn't seem to be on the same page. The secondary is injured. They got some massive losses there, which is going to be a big problem. But Hurts seems out of sync, so I'm not quite sure what's going on. But I'm watching him this week. Miami, Tua seems to be staying healthy. Great field awareness, and he won the game without all his speedsters, which is like okay. So imagine what he has when they come back. So pretty awesome there. Number 2, I got Dallas. I couldn't give him the number 1 spot. They had the best scoring margin since the NFL began. 60 points in 2 games.
Yep.
That's historic. Stellar defense, man. Can't complain. They had 7 touchdowns and 7 turnovers, and 1 touchdown. So looking really good. Couldn't give him the top spot. Reserving that for San Fran. Issue with his secondary health. They're really thin back there. I think a good team can capitalize on that. Could be a big problem down the stretch. C-Mac, man, that man, he gets yards after the tackle. It's ridiculous how he continue to keep doing that. I think Purdy and the O-line haven't been stellar. No style points really at all there. I kind of wonder if that's a opening for them to get knocked out of the box because they haven't seen the past couple of games, at least past few games, really. They haven't seen to solve that issue. He's been under duress a lot and putting the ball in bad places. You can't rely on C-Mac all the time. I mean, if you remember his days in Carolina when he was relied on a lot, guess what happened? He got hurt.
Yep.
And he was hurt every year. So
yep.
That's my power rankings. What you got, baby?
So I'm gonna go first to 10th. So I have the Niners in that top spot. Even with Purdy getting even with Purdy, getting rushed, and he was a little bit off target yesterday, but he's still commanding this offense. They're still getting through people, no problem. And of course, that defense is that defense. Second, I still have the Eagles at number 2. Although they haven't looked amazing, they're still collecting wins, right? I mean, they're still putting it together there. So until I see a reason to move them, I think that's where they're going to be for now. And then KC moves up a spot. I got them at 3.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it was a solid win this weekend. So I give them credit. They're kind of coming back into form a little bit. The Dolphins move up 1. I have them at 4. Tough to not have them advance a little bit after beating the brakes off the Broncos. Man, 70 points is no joke.
This is the week 3 power ranking. You can't put that game in there. That changes the whole rankings. This is before that.
No, that's week 3.
Oh man,
that was week 3, right?
This whole ranking is put a pipe bomb to this whole ranking. It's just over there.
I was wondering why you had the Cowboys so high because now I have the Cowboys.
I left the games out because come on, man.
Oh, I just didn't have Mondays in there because they hadn't played yet, right? But all of this weekend was week 3. So I have the Cowboys there because they lost to a terrible, Arizona team. and they made them look like world beaters. So
they look really good, though.
They did.
I don't know why, but they look great out there.
They did.
Tremendous. I don't get it exactly. Okay.
Well, and I mean, to be fair, Arizona has been in every game. They've just kind of fallen apart in the fourth quarter. And this time around, with the injuries to that Dallas offensive line, and of course Diggs getting hurt ACL tear, man, they made Arizona look really good. So I'm not super convinced that the Cowboys are going to be in this top 10 real long if that's the way they're going to play. Then I have the Ravens. Not much needs to be said about that. They're coming into their own a little bit. They're still not playing great football, but they're still getting, finding ways to win. The Bills after that week 1 disaster has shown that they're the Bills. Okay. The Browns, I still have them hanging around. I keep waiting for them to really start to click.
When was that?
The Browns are number 8 for me.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so I keep waiting for them to really start to gel. They got a lot of nice pieces, but man, they're just not quite there yet. But they're still winning games, even though they're not necessarily on the same page. So if they can bring everybody together, this could be a really tough team. I have the Lions. The Lions are, that defense is slowly coming along. The offense can score points. So I have them at 9. And then I have the Seahawks dipping into the top 10 this week because they're finding ways to win without an offensive line. And that is impressive to me.
Yeah. I'm impressed too.
Because, when you look at that team going into Sunday's game, they had 14 guys, not including IR players, on the injury report. So for you to get a win with 14 dudes that's 26% of your team is on the injured list. That is insane. So for them to get a win there was pretty impressive. So I let them slide into that top 10, 10th spot. That 10th spot is always a really tough one to fill because there's so many teams that are kind of there. That 10th spot is like they're that bubble team, right? Like there's elements of the game that you like, but usually by the time you get to 10, you're not like, oh, this team's a juggernaut, right? Like by the time you get to 10, there's holes in that team.
All right. Well, now we got to talk about the elephant in the room because some comments about the power rankings. When did you do your power? When did you do them? You did them like this morning?
Yeah. So
wait a minute. This is not what I thought we were going to be doing.
Yeah. So I do mine in the morning before the show because all the games happen, right?
My whole power rank would have been totally different. Like extreme difference.
Yeah, I was assuming just based on a couple of the games you referenced, I was like, oh, okay, he's doing week 2. But
no, we did week 2 last week. I'm in the right week, but
well, no, because we just did. Week 3 games were yesterday, right? So I wasn't going to do power rankings for the week before.
Aren't power rankings done when the week starts?
Yeah. So had we done it tomorrow, then we would have done the power rankings for, because it would be the power ranking for this next week, right? From the games that just happened.
Somebody this could be meeting, but it wasn't me.
We both had power rankings, so technically it worked.
Oh my goodness. Well, I promise all y'all that are listening to this show, we're not that incompetent. We'll have it straight next week. All right, so let's start off with TNF. I got to. So thank you for giving me a little bit of time. You get the same latitude with the Seahawks coming up a little bit. But I got to go here with the. That's why I got this big. That's why the 28 ounce is here today. That's why. This is because of TNF. It's the only reason why it's here. I don't need that much coffee, but TNF brought this on. All right, help me out with this part because as long as I've been watching football, I always felt that there was at least a code of conduct when it comes to how you do things. I kind of felt like it was like. You know how when your boy Shador in Colorado put his finger in the guy's eye last week, guy rubbed foot the wrong way, like, oh, you breaking the code. Everybody got their eye up. Yep. You got guys over here on the Niners talking about DJ's contract. on open mics talking about how much money he made, how much he got in his pockets. I'm like, is that what we're doing? It's not about the game. It's just kind of going into the game because I'm seeing a little bit of a pattern with the Niners that Niners fans don't want to talk about. Seeing like, they call his salary unbelievable and said that it's a travesty. A travesty. What a big word for you to be using. His contract is ridiculous. And guess what? All these guys that said that stuff, nobody gave their names at all. All were considered anonymous.
Yeah, of course not.
Anonymous. I'm like, I wasn't the biggest fan of DJ's contract, the money either.
Sure.
But I knew that it wouldn't matter in about 3 weeks because the next quarterback was going to come out and obliterate that number. So it wouldn't matter.
Yep.
I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I mean, wow. These guys sitting talking about these guys' money. I'm like, is that what we're doing now? And
it's not that they were lying. Like, I thought it was too much money, but I don't know why other players are talking about someone else's money. Like that shouldn't be a thing.
Well, why be ashamed of the truth? Why are you hiding your name and face?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
if you're gonna say it.
Somewhere in my Twitter feed, I don't know where it is because it's too far to try to find it. And searching on Twitter is not really something that seems to work very well.
Nah,
somewhere when he got that money, I made a comment about it. Somewhere in my Twitter timeline history, I made a comment about that money. I'm like, wow, it's a lot of dough. I was thinking more like about 35.
Yeah.
I wasn't in the 40 realm. I wasn't anywhere near that. So I mean, even I had a problem with it, but I mean, come on, why y'all doing that? So I brought it up for a reason because I feel like there's a pattern with this team, and I feel like it's going to be their undoing because you can't keep doing the concept that you've been doing all this time, and that goes for guys like a Dre Greenlaw that has he put his name and face out there regarding the money, saying he's not a bad player, but if you ain't got nothing else, well, then you got to do what you got to do. They took a chance on him and all. A lot of people make that kind of money that don't deserve it. Okay, all right, cool, fair enough. But these two teams have a history with each other, goes back many years. I thought about respect and class, two classy organizations, but apparently we got a little bit of gutter in some of this here. So my mind went back to 2022, an NFC title game versus Philly. They lost 31-7.
Yep.
That's the 9. These classy guys over here. Brandon Ayuk going on mics saying the Eagles were lucky, extremely lucky to get to the Super Bowl, and that the Niners are hands down the best team in the NFL and stuff like that. Debo Samuels going on CBS with Adam Sheen and Mad Dog Sports Radio, hanging up on him because he has some question about the team, and Brock Purdy getting hurt, and he's hanging up on people, hanging up on CBS. I mean, it's not like CBS is God or anything, but it's like you hung up on CBS.
Yeah.
Is that classy, professional, or what?
Yeah.
And then you got guys like Dre Greenlaw talking about somebody's money out here, unsportsmanlike conduct all over the place.
Yep.
Punching people in the head and trying to punch the ball and punch people's hands, running backs who use their hands to catch passes or hold on to the ball. You punch them in the hands. I mean, I'm starting to get the impression that these guys are not, as classy and professional they make themselves out to be. I mean, Trent Williams is a whole nother story. I mean, there's just people on my Twitter talking about, oh man, the Giant player hit Trent Williams first. I'm like, Trent Williams got a history. This is not like he's not some choir boy. He's been doing stuff for a minute.
Yeah.
And a lot of times doesn't get caught for it. It's not the first time that he's been out of bounds, so to speak. But I just say all that to say that, it's kind of weird that you would kick somebody when they're down. That's kind of weird to me because in college, I've seen it a lot in college, people running the score and everything. But these guys here, you're going off the field on mic, talking about somebody's money and just disparaging their names. Wow. I think that a line that should be drawn here with this after all this time, all that we've seen throughout history, but apparently it's not the case. Let's talk about the game itself. First thing I saw off the top, really soft spot in the secondary early. I saw it very early. I mean, Wink had the defense ready for the most part, everybody complained about the tackles, but the tackles was really one of the best things that happened. At least in the first half, they were tackling very efficiently. Had solid coverage. They had a little bit of a pass rush that night in the first half. Again, I thought tackling was excellent. I watched the whole game. I don't know what anybody else saw. They were tackling folks. C-Mac was getting yards after the tackle. I mean, I guess it's a C-Mac thing. I don't know. But we got a makeshift O-line out there, which is like horrible. Thomas was out. We had a guard playing left tackle in Ekadu. We had a left guard in Lemieux that hadn't played since COVID. Had a right guard making his second start. Had an ACL last year in McKethan. I like him over Glowinski, but that's just my personal preference. Got a rookie in Schmitz, which I think is a fantastic. I think we got the center for the future there. I love him. And then we got issues with Neil, right tackle who need to have anything past a two-step drop. He needs some help from somebody, So there's a lot of bad stuff going on the O-line. Without Barkley there, I saw a whole bunch of issues with the run game. I mean, Breida, he's decent, man, but he's not Barkley. You know what I'm saying? And
29 yards is rough.
No question, man. I mean, we got beat by the slip screen. Like I don't know how many times that happened, but we had a pass rush, but it was just throwing the ball behind it and getting like 10, 15 yards. It was just happening over and over again. I mean, big games by San Fran, and they're good at creating space with the play action. Mm-hmm. Offense went to sleep after a while. I think he had 2 yards going in the halftime. 2 yards,
something like that.
My grandson can get 2 yards with a blindfold on.
Not with that O-line.
No Hyatt. I mean, he was there. I mean, he's an elite speed option for us. He was there. He wasn't hurt. Yeah. He was on in 9 play, I think it was. No looks his way, which is very, very weird. They abandoned the run early once again. I think I've been saying that the entire season. Why you keep abandoning the run? That's what you need to be doing, and they keep on getting away from it. I don't get it. Just with this 3 yard stick out.
I think they're trying to justify, Danny's contract. Like they're like, okay, we got you to throw the ball, and
it's about football. Justify a contract. What they got to do with football? They just paying him for what he's supposedly has done. He's going to do. What they got to do with this?
I mean, I don't know, but that's what it seems like outside. Because I mean, you had Saquon. It's like use that dude.
you would have won a game. You better run the ball,
right?
I heard it like about 5 times last night. I was watching I think it was an NFL game day or something. I heard it like 5 times. In this league, you got to run the ball. Why are we exempt from that? I don't understand. We're not. We should be running the ball. I don't care who we got back there. We still got Eric Gray. We should be running the ball. We're not doing that, and I don't understand. Why they keep starting it? You see progress, and they just get away from just run away and go back to passing. And how they use the pass camera, I don't know what's going on with that. Obsessed with this 3 yard stick route. I'm like, that's not going to get us down the field. 2 or 3 yard stick route. It's not working. You gonna get that? And then we had a whole bunch of issues with the play calling.
Yeah.
If you hear the name Sean Hockley out of my mouth more than today, you know that what I'm saying is right, because he is not Ed Hockley. We know him for his muscles.
Yeah, right.
To referee correctly. That's how we know Ed Hockley. His son Sean is an aberration. He's not that. And every time he's in the game, we always hear something bad about the play calling. And he showed up in the Niners and Giants game big time. You can say we lost by 18 points, I think it was, 30-12. But yeah, some of that, I give Sean Hockley the credit for.
I mean, some of it is you guys couldn't get off the field on 3rd down either, though. I mean, they were over 50% on 3rd down. That's not great.
Didn't design any run for DJ. I mean, this is what he does.
Yeah.
This is why he got some of that money, because he's a mobile quarterback that can make plays with his legs. They didn't have very few design run plays for him. Even the Niners were like, why didn't they do more of that? We were expecting it, and they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Our opposing team said that. Guess what? It's not an overreaction, man. Let's move on, but we are the worst team in the NFC East, period. And I'm saying I'm the one saying that. The Commanders are better than we are.
Yeah.
Good God.
Yeah.
I
You're
actually
not
said
wrong.
that with conviction. This is a joke. Let's move on, brother. How you feel about the Texans and the Jaguars yesterday, man? Wow. Are you shocked by that?
Yes. Yeah. It's and I'm not shocked by the Texans putting a good game together. Like they've had decent games each week, right? It hasn't necessarily ended in wins, but they've looked like they're getting their pieces to come together. The part that surprised me is how bad Jacksonville has looked. They man, that team has some problems. Like there's you know, they're going to have to figure it out soon, because otherwise they're going to find themselves on the outside of the playoff picture.
It's amazing to me. They look like a totally different team. It's amazing how, and in some way they remind me of the Eagles, but not exactly, because in the win column.
Sure.
But the way they ended their season last year, it was like, wow, get ready for them in 2023.
Yeah.
They're going to come out smoking. That's kind of how we talked about both of those teams. Not coincidentally, Peterson was the coach of the Eagles before he went to the Jaguars. Probably not related at all, but you know, that's what we thought about. And they came out here, it's like the Jaguars trying to find themselves, like, and the Eagles trying to find themselves, like, what happened?
Oh yeah, no, I thought they were going to come out smoking, and instead they came out like smokers, like they're like super slow, not able to run. Like it's very weird. And if you're a Jag fan, you got to be worried, because
the podcast of Tom in and said that division is terrible.
Yep.
Jackson's kind of running on grace right now. They should be taking advantage of this bad opportunity, but they don't seem to want to do that. The Texans came inside there and smacked them around.
Oh yeah.
Quite frankly, they dominated them.
Yeah.
That score should have been a lot worse. They dominated them. And I'm like, wow, what's next for them? That's going to be interesting. Here's the game you want to talk about. I'm gonna let you go with it, man. The Broncos and the Dolphins. This college game that took place on the NFL field.
Dude.
Like that's wrong, man. That's wrong.
Man, how do you get beat down? 70? Really? Holy crap.
I mean, to be fair, man, the Giants in week 1 went 40 zip. Met with the Commanders and the Bills this week. But it felt like, and all the commentators were saying the same thing. They saw that the defense just quit.
Yeah.
Wow. The Broncos, man, that was supposed to be probably their best asset.
The defense, absolutely.
Supposed to be. That's what they were saying.
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be a top 5 defense. They didn't show up last night for sure.
Wow.
I mean,
inexplicable.
Absolutely insane. I gotta look up the stats just because I can't even remember them. They were so ridiculous. So
on the ground, 359. In the air, 376.
Yeah. And then on the other side, the Broncos had 69 yards rushing.
Was Javonte playing? That man is way better than that. Was he playing? Was Javonte in the game?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. He
I love you some Javonte Williams, but
11 carries for 42 yards. That's it.
Oh God.
Yeah, no, it's I mean, and I can't really fault Wilson on this one, right? Like he was actually relatively efficient, 23 of 38, 306, a touchdown and an interception. And if you look at Tua's numbers outside of the touchdown difference, right? He was 23 of 26 for 309. So I mean, very similar yardage totals. He just happened to have 4 touchdowns instead of the one and an interception. But this one is solidly on the defense. I mean,
that's okay. That's fair.
726 yards. Good guy.
That's fair, but those numbers are weird because Tua didn't have to throw that much because 4 of the touchdowns was to Mostert. And I think most of them were rushing touchdowns. So he never
I mean, when you're rushing for 350 yards, I mean, wow. Where is your defense?
Wilson had it
on the bus?
Wilson had to throw, So,
For
oh
sure.
my goodness, wow. So okay, so these guys clearly ran the score up because I mean, how else to describe this? Why was this a good thing? Why did they do that?
I mean, so I look at it this way. I never care if a team runs the score up. You don't want them to run the score up? Stop them. Simple as that.
I've heard you say that. I want you to say it out loud so we can all hear it again.
Yeah. I mean, you're out there playing football. You don't like it? Stop them. Prove you're the better team.
I guess I was hoping for the mercy rule. I felt so bad for them.
You know what? I've been on both sides of a beatdown. Like I've been on a team that got smoked, and I've been on a team that put up 60+ points. And
we hear the details.
What's that?
I can't wait to hear the details.
No, I mean I've just been on both sides of the coin. I'm just not mad at it. Like, if you're getting beat down, it is what it is. Tighten up them cleats, get back out there, try and stop them. Don't let them keep going. So I never really get that mad at it. It's just like, okay, you do your thing.
I mean, I ain't gonna say let up off the gas and give him a chance. I'm not saying that, right?
Yeah. No, of course.
I mean, but 70 points is a whole lot. It's like history. It's historic.
Well,
it's
so
like, wow, when you gonna do something?
Well, so here's the thing, though, right? It's not like they were going way out of their way to run the score up. They put Mike White out there. He threw the ball twice for 67 yards and a touchdown. That defense didn't even show up. I feel like anybody could have scored on that defense. So, I mean,
yeah, somebody's losing their jobs. That's the kind of game that DCs don't come back from. I put it like that.
True.
Right. Bills and Commanders. OMG. Wow. I had all of these. Now, I got one Commanders. I call him a friend loosely. we used to be friends, and then we had a little disagreement. Now we're not really friends anymore. But anyway, I've heard so many comments about the Commanders about the Giants in Week 1.
Sure.
I think they won their game, and we didn't win all. We lost 40-0. So they kind of felt like they want to take some pot shots at us. And I thought about that. I said, "Wow, Commanders fans, this is your life. When the rain falls, everybody gets wet, baby. Everybody gets wet. Look what scoreless in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
If it would have been a late field goal, it'd have been 37-0. The Buffalo Bills handled these boys.
Oh yeah.
You watch that game?
I saw parts of it.
Anything to talk about there, or besides the fact the Commanders got blown out?
I mean, the Commanders didn't do anything. Like there's not a lot to talk about. I mean, they had 230 yards total, something like that.
Here's the thing that I'm
1 for 9 on third down.
I don't think we can break it down. I want to move on to the Colts and Ravens, but I don't know if we can break it down. But it felt like the parts I got a chance to see, it wasn't a whole lot. I had to see highlights because of where I am locally. It seemed like Sam Howell was trying to do everything. I mean, he got talent out there to throw to. There's no question about that part. T-Mac he's a real talent, but he was doing everything. It felt like by himself. Yeah, escaping out of the pocket, trying to throw over defenders, which turned into interception. One or two of them. It felt like he was trying to do a whole lot by himself. Is he going to get the blame for this, or just a team thing, or is Howard getting the blame?
This is a team thing. I mean, because they lost in every phase of the game, so this is going to be one of those, film day today is going to be rough because there's not going to be a lot of we did this well. It's going to be, what are we doing?
Wow. Okay. Just to be clear, the Commanders got beat down. Just in case anybody missed it, 37-3 in the Bull by the Bills. They got beat down. Just so in case anybody missed that part of the show. We go back watching on YouTube, but you probably hear me say the Commanders got beat down by the Bills. 37-3 was the score. Just so Colts and Ravens. Yep. This is the one right here. I was concerned about this game for a couple of reasons. Not because of Minshew per se. He overshadowed everything I thought he would do. But I said the Ravens are starting slow. the past 2 weeks. I told you this. I said they starting slow the past 2 weeks. They ain't the only team, but they one of those because you had them picked to go all the way to the big dance, right?
Yep.
Slow start, 2 weeks in a row, can't score.
Yep.
Receivers can't catch. Lamar can do it all by himself again, like we were talking about a little earlier, making plays with his legs. Can do it all by himself.
Mm-hmm.
He ran in 2 touchdowns for a score. The pass game was ineffective to say the least. Fumbles at the wrong times.
I mean, that's the difference in the game right there, because statistically, just about every other category, the Ravens were the better team, but fumbles and bad spots ends up being the difference in that game. I mean, turnovers generally do, right? Like if you lose the turnover battle, a lot of times you lose a game.
I don't like what's happening out there.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a new offense. You got to give them a chance to deal with that, but it feels like something else is going on here. It doesn't feel like it's just the Monken's new offense. It feels like it's something else going on. You can't catch passes. That's the fundamental thing that receivers do.
Yep.
What they got to do with Ty Monken? You got to catch the passes, right? Because you are a wide receiver, right? You're receiving the ball, right? It's not, and it was just so much of that. I'm like, and not just this game, but the first 2 games as well. If you rely on Lamar to win with his legs, man, he's going to be tired by week 8. And usually that's when he goes out on an injury for several weeks. Why? Maybe because he's tired of carrying the team on his back all by himself. And
I was going to say he'll be retired by week 12 or 13.
Yeah, having to run and throw and do everything while everybody else stands around like a bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
What is happening? Your prediction looks really bad right now.
I mean,
I don't think they're going to Super Bowl. I don't think so.
It's tough to say because nobody's looked sharp, really. Outside of the Niners, like the Niners have looked pretty sharp overall, but compared to the league, they're still not quite what they were. But I don't know what it. I mean,
we don't have time to discuss this game, but the Browns, man, yesterday look polar opposite than what they did the week before.
Yep,
they didn't look bad.
No. I mean,
they were in that same division.
Yeah, no, they had a solid game. They had a solid game. No, I mean, it's again why I don't like the fact that there's no live speed hitting before preseason, and then no starters playing preseason, because we're just watching essentially 3 weeks of pretty ugly football, honestly. Like it's a lot of turnovers, it's a lot of off-target throws. Offensive lines don't seem to be moving together cohesively, really. Like there's a lot of things that I'm not loving about the way that teams get ready for the season now. So yeah, I don't feel good about any team really as it sits right now, because they've all gotten off to really sloppy starts.
Fair enough. We don't have time to talk about Saints and Packers, but Derek Carr was injured in the third quarter on a sack by Rashawn Gary. Go Blue. But yeah, that's not a good situation. I don't know what they're gonna do if he's out for any period of time. But we brought in Jameis, and like I said, I don't know what they're gonna do if he's out for any period of time.
Yeah.
Jameis not giving me any confidence. But I want to talk to Chargers and Vikings real quick as part of one of the poll questions you had. I expected a shootout real quick. We almost run out of time here. We took them to the fourth quarter before they finally got their minds right and begin to try to establish some the run they couldn't establish at all without Eckler. I'm like,
yep.
Is he the only running back on the whole team? It was really ugly. I felt like now that we're going to hear that sound bite from Brandon Staley at the end of the game about why he did what he did with that coaching move to not punt on their own 24. They had 140 left.
Oh, I didn't hear the sound bite.
Yeah, his press conference. It was deplorable, but he said he was the best thing for the team. A coach would have put their team in the best position to win, right? That would be the whole entire thing that happens, right?
Sure.
Well, it's 140. They're up by 4, and they're on their own 24.
Yep.
They decided to go for it rather than to punt.
Yep.
which has been going. It was going well the entire game based on how Minnesota was playing. So,
I mean, it's only dumb if it doesn't work.
The analytics would say, you know what, go ahead and punt. It's best for you.
Yep.
And that's some time off of the clock, especially if they don't return the punt. Vice get the ball back. Still down 4. They got to score a touchdown. They can't even do a field goal. So they got to, you're playing, protecting the end zone.
Yep.
This guy said, I'm going to go for it. And he didn't convert.
I mean, they still came away with a win.
I know that, but it's not. People are not talking about that.
No,
So
I mean, ultimately, again, I think Staley's done before this season's over.
He has a history of doing stuff like this. It's like, what is he doing? Yeah, they won, but it was like, wow, you talking about if you believe in luck. I don't believe in luck, but if you believe in luck, this is it. Like, this is the leprechaun showing his head right now. This is it.
Yeah.
What is going on? But okay, let's go to the Cowboys and the Cardinals. I'm gonna let you have that, brother, so I won't be biased. People won't say, "Oh, it's me against the Cowboys." I'm gonna let you talk about that.
I mean,
we got a game to play, so
the game was terrible.
No, the game we're gonna play after you talk about the Cowboys and the Cardinals.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that game was terrible. The Cowboys made the Cards look like world beaters.
Really?
Yeah. You got to love every second of this.
Really? I don't know what you mean, sir.
The Cards, they rushed for 222 yards, man. Like what happened to that, amazing Dallas defense? What's going on there? They're averaging 7.5 yards a play. You know how insane that is? That is, it makes no sense. And then of course Dak finally got his first interception of the year. So he, for my prediction, he only needs 14 more. So,
yay!
But I mean. I got nothing. The Cowboys really just fell apart. They look terrible.
Absolutely. Connor was dominating, man. This is the same defense I was saying was past 2 weeks. They look fantastic.
Yep.
They look fast. They were getting to the ball. They were pressuring. They were tackling. They looked great until yesterday.
They did lose Diggs for the season. Right? They lose Diggs.
What else? Okay, go ahead. What else?
Well, and then they had 3 of their offensive linemen hurt. So they had a tackle, a guard, and the center. So you're not going to get the same protection. What's that?
How that affect the defense? I missed that part.
It doesn't affect the defense, with the exception of the fact that if your offense can't stay on the field, your defense gets tired.
Oh, Cowboys apologize after here today, huh? Oh, wow.
No. I mean, they caught a fat L against a team that isn't supposed to win. so that is still solidly on them. But but they did go into that game with some key guys that were hurt. Okay.
So let me ask this one question, and then we'll go ahead and get off of this and get to our game.
Yep.
Get into our poll question and comments, and we'll go ahead and end the show. So I have one more question. You're talking about the O-line. You said that many guys are hurt. I didn't know that because I didn't pay attention to those things because I don't care.
Yep.
But at the end of the game, you're down 12 here now. Mm-hmm. You got about, I think it's about 4 minutes on the clock, right?
Yep.
Dak got the ball in his hands. Now you got missing O-line guys, you say, right? Yep. So that means that your O-line is compromised, to say the least, right?
Of course.
Tell me why you hold on to the ball so long then. Why you doing that?
Sometimes it takes a while to find the right defender to throw it to.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Dak is supposed to be a running quarterback too, right? What happened?
No.
You got to score twice.
Sometimes
you got to score twice. Why you killing the clock when you're down 12 and you got to score twice?
So, sometimes you have to go through your progression.
10-yard line. Tell me why that's happening.
Because it takes time to find the right defender to throw to.
And if you can't do that, what do you do then? Time is of essence, man.
Yeah, if they're trying to keep a hold of the ball, then he should scramble, try and do something.
This idea, expound on that. He should scramble.
Yeah, try and create something.
Why did he do that?
I mean, it's Dak. So here's the thing with Dak is he is Kirk Cousins with more cameras on him. That's what he is. Like, he's all right. He's not great. He's not elite. He's an above average quarterback. That's it.
We can do this all day long, but I got nothing but adrenaline. This cannot be explained. Maybe somebody on one of the other shows is explaining it better than I can, but this can't be explained. 4 minutes is a lot of time.
It is.
And yeah, the Cardinals defense was playing lights out, no question about that stuff. But I mean, at the end of the day, if your O-line's not doing great because they're hurt and being placed with somebody else, what you doing?
Yep.
Look, he had plenty of time back then. Nobody was coming after him. The O-line was doing a great job protecting him. You couldn't find anything open.
The thing that's funny is,
what do you do?
If the Seahawks have shown anything, like if you watched that game at all, I don't know if you got to see it in your market, but
pieces of the highlights. I couldn't see the whole thing.
So one of the plays, they had Geno back, and he had two tight ends lined up right next to him in the shotgun and a running back behind him. Like, these are the kind of things they were designing to protect Geno because the offensive line is hammered, right? So if you were going into this game as a Cowboys, knowing that your offensive line is compromised, you need to do some stunts to help protect the guy. So, yeah, it's that being said, you really can't change bad decision making.
Unbelievable. I'm not getting it. All right, well, ready for a game, brother?
Let's do it.
Let's go. All right. Contender or pretender? I'm giving you 14 teams. You can only pick 7. I'll post it listening in the comment section. You guys can play along. 14 teams, only 7 can be contenders, and 7 have to be pretenders. No exclusions, all right? So you only got room for 7 contenders and 7 pretenders, all right? Ready to roll?
Yep.
All right. Packers, contender or pretender?
Pretender.
Vikings, contender or pretender?
Man, they shouldn't even be on this list. Definitely a pretender.
Because of their record. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Seahawks, pretender or contender?
So they're a pretender, really. I mean, they're
who?
not. Huh?
They what?
They're a pretender still.
Oh. I respect you so much more today. All right, cool. The Bucks, contender or pretender?
Definitely a pretender.
All right. Bengals, contender or pretender?
I mean, they're a pretender now.
Wow. 49ers, pretenders or contenders?
Oh, contender for sure.
The Dolphins,
Contender.
Contender? All right. Philadelphia Eagles, contender or pretender?
Yep, contender.
All right. How about the Buffalo Bills?
Contender. Yep.
All right. Your Ravens, how you pick them?
I mean, they're a contender, but I don't love the brand of football they're putting out there yet.
All right. We only got a few more left. Cleveland Browns, contender or pretender? It's hard.
That one is hard.
Keep track of how many contenders you got now.
I wasn't counting.
You need to count for it, sir. You only have 7.
I wasn't. Where am I at?
Right now, you have 5.
I have 5. I have 5
contenders. Correct.
Okay.
5 contenders and 5 pretenders.
Man, that one's tough. I'll go contender. I'll go contender on that.
Oh, wow. All right. Cowboys, contender or pretender?
Contender.
All right, man. You know that's all of them, right? So now you got left with the Chargers and the Lions.
Yeah, both are pretenders.
They both pretenders? Wow. Yeah. I'm shocked. I thought I had you with the Lions one. I thought I had
the thing is the Lions will probably win their division, and they'll be a divisional round exit. Very similar to the Seahawks. They'll get in as a wild card, and then they'll be a divisional round exit most likely.
Oh wow! I thought I had you heading on them Lions, boy. Okay, you shocked me. I like it. Good stuff, man. All right, so just to recap our poll question for today. Well, I had two of them. Bo had a great one also, but they both is. What week does Russell Wilson of the Broncos get benched? What's your prediction on that one? What are you thinking? I can see the schedule.
Yeah, so for me, I think if they keep playing the way they are, I think by week 7, you could see him take a seat, especially if they only win. Like if they win 1 or 2 games in that span, there's a real chance that they will try and just do something, right? Because if they are, 1-6 or 2-5, you're as a coach, you just have to try different things, right? So he may be one of those things, even though the biggest problem appears to be the defense, maybe having someone else on the offensive side will get guys to rally a little bit. I don't know. So I think around 7 or 8, if they're still playing terrible, Peyton could have them take a seat.
Okay. Well, week 6 and week 8, they're playing the Chiefs. I don't expect them to win either one of those games.
Yep.
And they got the Packers sandwich in between that. I'm going to say he makes it to the bye week.
When is their bye week?
Week 9.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're going to get benched, I don't see him playing the Bills because I just feel like he's going to get walloped. So yeah. I don't know. I'm going with that. I'm not quite sure. I'm just kind of really guessing. Yep. The other poll question was, does Chargers head coach Brandon Staley survive the entire season? I want to look at this schedule too because I think that's going to play a part. Because what I saw last night, I'm like, wow. He went on and he was determined to sell that story that that move was the best move for them. Like,
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is he's finding ways to take L's even in a win, and so it just doesn't say good things about him being able to stay in there. Even before the season, I thought that he was going to end up not being the head coach by the end of the year. So I still think that's going to be the deal. I think he loses his job. Kellen Moore is the guy for, as interim head coach. Then they can figure it out from there. But yeah, Brandon Staley, I don't, and don't get me wrong. I'm not like calling for this guy to get fired or anything like that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm with you. But based on everything we've seen and the way he's wasting Herbert's talent, and just how bad their defense has been, despite the fact that he is a defensive coach, like that was his thing. So for them to have such a terrible defense doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I look for him to probably, especially if they continue losing. Now, granted, I know they won, but even in a win, they made a lot of bad decisions, so it still didn't look great. I would say that there's a real chance by week 12 he's done.
They got some really tough games coming up.
They do.
They got the Raiders coming up next. Never know how that's going to go, especially in the division.
I mean, they'll win that game. They'll win that game because they still don't have a good defense. The Raiders, right? They still don't have a good defense. And if you looked at the game yesterday, Garoppolo looks like he's over his skis all the time.
I hear you, but I don't know that. I don't trust that as much because one field goal and you can win the game over somebody you should have beaten. We've seen that this week too. Cowboys and the Chiefs after that.
Yep.
I don't like their chances.
No, those are both L's.
A few weeks down the line, I think on November 12th, they play the Lions. Matter of fact, after they play the Packers, I'm not even sure that that's a win for them.
The way the Packers been playing,
there's a lot going on here. I mean, I don't think Steelers going to make it. If he does make it, then he got pictures of somebody because there's no way he should survive this entire season. Not with the decisions he's making right now. But let's go ahead and jump to our comments, man. Before I start losing track and talking about these guys all over again. we'll never get out of this. All right, Herb and Raj Podcast. Good morning, guys. We love you and thank you for your support. The Herb and Raj Podcast is, of course, live every Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. CST, 8 p.m. EST. You can find them on YouTube channel and, of course, also on Twitter as well. Fantastic show. Two brothers, man, that are getting it done. I said I can't wait for the Washington, USC, Oregon games. I'm excited about them being in the Big Ten. I'm very excited because we need a shakeup if we ever needed one before. We can't sit here with these guys that are just routinely beating up all the time. That's boring. Let's make it fun. Let's stir it up. So I'm loving this. All right. Urban Rodgers they're on a roll today. I was for like 50 in one game. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Oh, yeah, the power rankings need to happen at the beginning of the show, and of course, after all the games have been played on Sunday. Apparently, according to my partner here, Bo, I'll do it too early. So. The shade that Bo would get is so funny than me, and then it continues.
Yeah, no, I did mine about 4:00 this morning. Yeah,
that's fair. I would have based it on yesterday's game. I should have done the same thing. We didn't discuss it in the production meeting, so okay, that's on me. That's on me. I'll correct it for next week. No worries. All right. Yeah, I don't know about this one now. I don't think they're trying to give it up on purpose. Honestly, I'm not even sure that these guys are trying to tank. It doesn't seem like that's their goal.
The dudes on the field don't look like it.
When they're tanking, it has a certain look to it. You know, that's not what's happening right now. So I don't know if the Cardinals have totally given up. I don't know.
No, I don't think they have. I mean, they've played tough in each game, and then they just haven't been able to play long enough, right? Like they just haven't been able to close a game out until yesterday. But yeah.
I mean, they can get the number one pick and not pick Caleb, right? They can do that.
Yeah, because they're probably not picking him anyway because of how much they owe Kyler. They're probably just going to go get Marvin Harrison Jr. and then shop that second first pick because they have the one from the Texans, and they can probably get a ton of pieces for that second overall pick that will ultimately be Caleb Williams or any one of these quarterbacks coming up.
Yeah, I have no idea what is going on over there, but they played good yesterday. Very good. Good morning, Back It Up Binge podcast. Good morning, brothers.
Hey.
Great to hear from you guys. Thanks for jumping in. I don't know what's happening here. I don't even understand what that means. We're talking about that one offline, man. I don't know what that means, man. I don't know what you're saying. All right, but yeah, we've been here. Yeah. Matter of fact, a commentator mentioned that yesterday, that Water wasn't even in the game. Imagine if he was there. Is it possible they could have scored more than 70?
Oh, man. Could they have hung a C note on him? That would have been amazing.
That would have been the worst thing that ever happened in the NFL. I don't know that.
No. That's what I'm saying. Like, that would have been the ultimate dumpster fire of a game.
I don't know what kind of impact would that have had if it was 100. In fact, you know what? That's our post-game poll question. I'm putting it on Twitter today. What would happen if they scored 100 points? How would that affect the league?
I mean, I feel like on defense, so many people get fired. If you give up 100 points, holy wow.
Absolutely. Wow. Okay. That's fair. Mike White was the backup. I didn't know that part. He took a knee rather than kick a field goal. I couldn't see the whole game. I was just getting the highlights. Wow. If that's true, that's a problem. Here's a question from the Herb and Watch podcast. Is Eric Bieniemy going to work out in Washington?
I mean, time will tell.
When he went there, I know that his time in KC was a nice cushy deal. Pretty sweet to have that kind of situation going on. Personally, I didn't like the move to Washington. I said, yeah, they got a lot of turmoil going there internally. You want to have less distraction, especially for somebody who had been waiting so long to have a head coaching job. You know what I'm saying? That you go there and you don't really have an established quarterback, number one. You go there and you have key guys that are injured on the defensive side, and in fact, the offensive side too. And it's like, I could have picked 3 better spots for him if they would have hired him. It would have been better. Probably even in Jacksonville, it would have been better for him if he had the option there, which I think he did have the option, but they didn't want him or whatever it was. But I don't think it's going to work out long term. I think his name will be moved around in a year or 2, or maybe 3. Personal decision. Was the Las Vegas, excuse me, the Chargers, Minnesota worst decision-making ever?
It was pretty bad.
It's in the top 3. Believe that. All right, mom is chiming in. Seems like a lot of coaches maybe not be using their position and people in positions where they will shine. Just observation from a non-pro and non-sports authority. Like us, we're not pro and sports authority either. But mom is right though. Absolutely. Yep. Oh boy. Herb and Wild, you guys are on fire today. I love it.
Yep.
Our show's going to extra innings. This never happens. All right. Dak beats up on bad team and can't win the games that matter. Ain't that the truth?
Yep.
It's the gospel. Reverend Herb is preaching the truth out here right now. Oh. Okay, that's an easy one. Oh. Now you can't pick up somebody's defense. You gotta pick the whole team. Oh my gosh.
Do they not play together in the big games? Is that how that works? You get to select a defense from a different team?
Okay, I don't know what this comment is about. I'll keep playing him to get some trade value out of him. What were we talking about?
I don't know.
Who was trade value? Was it Russ?
Maybe. You would get 0 trade value out of Russ, though. Ain't nobody taking on that contract. He's in the first year of it.
It must be talking about Russ. Got to be
Peyton taking a seat. I don't see that happening.
Not now.
Yep, Staley gets
fired. I don't want anybody to get fired, but that brother right there, and it's not because they're my second favorite team in the world. It's not because of that. It's because he need to be fired.
Yeah, no, he's trying. He's trying.
We love you too, brother, man. This was an awesome show, man.
Yep.
We love you, Herb and Raj, man. You guys are great. Oh my God. No. I laugh at the Cowboys' misfortune as a general rule. It doesn't matter what's happening. I laugh at them. I don't laugh at people's like Diggs injury. I'm not posting, doing memes on that. That's not my style. That's not who I am. If you see it on my page, I've been hacked. I'm never gonna do that. But I laugh at their general misfortune, and that was funny because we handled the Cardinals.
Hmm?
The Cardinals handled the Cowboys. What's that mean? You tell me. Okay.
Yeah, again, he doesn't have any trade value. If he plays terrible and his contract is so big, ain't nobody going to want that.
So you're telling me right now that there's nobody? I challenge you to put that on your Twitter page and tell me how it turns out. That there's no place Russ can go and thrive right now, money-wise and everything. There's nowhere that he can go.
There's no one that's going to want his contract currently. Yeah. I would absolutely stand behind that. Like, his contract is so high and his play has been bad enough that I don't know that anybody would want him, or the ones that would want him wouldn't be able to afford him. Like the Jets, in theory, could use him, right? They need an upgrade at quarterback, but they can't afford him. One, they don't have any trade capital, like draft capital to trade for, and they don't have any room in the cap because they're still paying Rodgers.
Talk is cheap. Post on Twitter.
Sure.
Tag me in it and ask that question. Is there any place that Russell Wilson can go where he'll thrive, or however you want to word it? I want to, please tag me. I want to see the results of this, because they got to be somewhere. Yeah. If that was it, because Peyton's not going to bench him, which I'm sure is going to happen at some point in time soon, and keep him on a team. I don't see that.
Well, the dead cap would be so high that he's on this team this year, no matter what.
Yeah, this year that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about period. Like him being traded.
Well, I mean, they're talking about trades. So, I mean, the trade deadline is what, week 8? No. So, I mean,
no. Not now. I'm talking about probably even on draft day.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I mean,
you bench Russ. You bench Russ. You trying to find a QB in the draft for sure. You got to be right.
Sure.
So what happens to Russ? You can't have him at the third string and you got to get rid of him. So do the poll, but I know. There's a few spots where he would be perfectly fine, and it'd be better than this spot.
Yeah, I'll have to look at what the out is for next year for them.
Yeah, it's ugly, but yeah, okay. But let me know how that turned out too. But yeah, great show, man. Appreciate you as always, man. Fantastic.
Thanks for tuning in.
We almost went. What?
Yeah.
Wherever you are today, however you're hearing, they call me Mr. You, the podcast. Thanks again for making us a part of your morning, your day, and your week with your weekly mirror check before you change the world. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. Down, subscribe, Football Talk with Bo. Find them on YouTube and on Twitter as well, and on Facebook as well. And they call me Mr. You, the podcast. We thank you again. Have a great day. Live stream. Top guys. Out.
Take it easy, guys.